Welcome to Ask Quinn, everyone. And do you remember I hinted at a podcast on Monday, that was recorded on Monday, that I was going to be having someone on my podcast who starred in a little TV show called Modern Family. Thank you very much. And that being said, I would like to introduce William C. And we're going to talk about comedy, and we're going to talk about Modern Family and everything else. So welcome, William. And please explain to my fan base more of what you do.
Well, my name is Will C., and I'm an actor. I'm a comedian, and I am a writer. I've been very blessed. I'm also a veteran. I have 3 branches of the military. I served in the Air Force, the Marine Corps, and the Army. And coming out of the military, I actually started comedy while still in the military when I was kind of dared to do it back in 1985 when I was at Camp Pendleton there in San Diego, California. And I went to a comedy club called The Comedy Store and did an open mic, and I loved it so much I kept on doing it. I've been doing it ever since. A little bit about the acting is I kind of got lucky, honestly. 11 years ago, I was living back in Kansas City, Missouri, and my buddy had done a movie in Los Angeles, and he wanted me to come out there and just be a military consultant on the movie, show people how to wear their uniform properly, get that gig on straight, whatever. And he had a small part for me, and not a big deal, but I literally started driving to California, and I was called by him, and there was a writer's strike going on, and was told the project was scratched. So I'm like, well, I don't know what to do, but I just kept on going to L.A., and I thought, you know what, my sister was 6 months pregnant when, and I thought, I'll stay there till the baby's born, whatever, and just try to make things happen. And I got very lucky. I was told in Los Angeles that it could take you 5 years, 10 years to make it, but I was lucky enough to only be in town for 2 weeks before I got a break with a absolute vodka commercial. We're sponsoring Kanye West, of all people, on his world tour, and I was fortunate enough I got to be a background actor, of all things, in this commercial. But Kanye saw me and decided that he didn't want me to be a background actor. He wanted me to be a main character in this commercial, and so I got tapped Hartley right on the spot, automatic SAG, and honestly, that commercial changed my life. I was able to land my first agent off that commercial, and I landed a show called Mansers on Spike TV, and I did that for a while, and in between that time, I was on The Office and Monk, and My Name is Earl and Knight Rider, and I was a handyman on Simmons Family Jewels, and I got to be in Yes Man with Jim Carrey, and 7 Pounds with Will Smith, and Inherent Vice with Joaquin Phoenix, Gone Girl with Ben Affleck, Hail Caesar with George Clooney. I'm Big Will from Storage Hunters on True TV, and I've done a lot of commercials and just a lot of things that have kept me in the business. And then, I landed the role playing one of Cam's cousins on Modern Family, and so I've had a really good run as an actor. It's been a lot of fun. It's fun to do comedy as well. I get to travel the world doing comedy, and I work with the Department of Defense. I wrote a series with a buddy of mine, a fellow member of the Veterans of Comedy. We wrote a series called Combat to Comedy, and we actually work with our transitioning veterans that are coming out of the military. A lot of them are being med-boarded out whether it be visible wounds or invisible wounds, traumatic brain injury, post-traumatic stress, a loss of limb, sexual trauma, whatever they're working with. We try to fight fear with funny and use laugh therapy to deal with the dark times. So that's kind of a little bit about me. Sorry, I didn't need to overpower that, but I just wanted to kind of fill you in on me.
No, I was letting you go. I wasn't speaking, and I was letting you go. See, I told you guys Will is a terrific person, and Will and I actually share the same publicist, believe it or not. So that's how I got Will on this podcast. But I want to ask you, and I'm going to not sound like an idiot when I ask this, but who is your favorite star that you have worked with in all the work you have done?
Honestly, I'm going to say two. When there's two people that really have kind of had a role in my. I really enjoyed working with Will Smith. He might be the nicest guy ever. Just a pleasure to work with on 7 Pounds. But then I guess I never really, growing up, I'm sure you've heard of the band Kiss. And when I got to be on Gene Simmons' Family Jewels, I didn't realize, I guess I just saw him as this rock star. I didn't realize how just incredible person that Gene Simmons really is, how smart he is, all the different languages that he speaks, just a genuinely nice person. And I remember we're on set and he asked me, he's like, I hear that you're a stand-up comedian. And I said, yes. I said, I am. He's like, he pulled open his laptop and just looked up some of my stuff and he's like, you're very funny. And he took my business card and he put it on his pegboard in his kitchen. And it was just cool to see every episode, if they scan through the kitchen, there's Will C's business card on that pegboard. And it's just, I don't know, he didn't have to do that. And I just, thought, this guy's really trying to help put me out there. And I just, him and Shannon would come to the Hollywood Improv and watch me perform. Just just a really nice guy.
And Grant, I was a 90s kid. So yes, I remember Kiss. I was born in 87. Believe it or not, I just turned 31 as of last Friday. So I am giving myself the honor of interviewing you as a late birthday present. But yes, I remember the band Kiss. And I remember Gene Simmons being in a band. And I also remember they did a reality show at one point documenting his journey, didn't they?
Yes, correct. That was called Gene Simmons' Family Jewels. And that's the show that I was on. I, believe it or not, I played their handyman on that show.
Believe it or not, geez. So, what would be, I know getting into SAGs and I know getting into the acting field is the toughest job ever, especially out in LA, because agents, like book agents, will spit you out like there's no tomorrow and move on to the next talent. So what would be your best advice for someone who wants to get that break in Hollywood?
I would say, honestly, you have to stay in your lane, if you know what I'm saying, and be committed to yourself. One of the life lessons that I've learned is to not give up. And I know this sounds so cliche, but for every 9 no's, there's going to be a yes. And so if you're patient and willing to accept that maybe you're not everybody's cup of tea, but eventually you're going to be the perfect cup of tea for somebody, if that makes sense. And if you're willing to have that patience and that drive and that determination, sky's the limit. And I believe in myself, and I would tell people out there to, you have the talent. God gave you the talent, so use it and be prepared. That's the biggest advice I can give everybody is, you hear people say, I wonder if I'm ready for the next level. If you're having to ask yourself, am I ready? Then you're not prepared and you're not ready. The people with confidence, and I'm not talking about cockiness when I'm talking about confidence in themselves, abilities to achieve, those people are the ones that are going to get the stuff done. They're the ones that are going to achieve their goals because they're willing to go the extra distance. And if you're willing to do that, success can only happen. So.
Yes. Well, just be true to yourself and believe in yourself don't be trying to follow the Joneses just because your best friend is a comedian with cerebral palsy, aka Josh Blue. Thank you very much. And I want to know your experiences with him, because I know you were just out in my neck of the woods doing a veteran camp, which I am actually involved in, well, kind of involved in that veteran camp, because it's put on by one of my favorite organizations on the planet, Challenge Aspen, and it's one of the top veteran camps in the country. So explain to my fan base, because they've heard me talk and squawk about Challenge Aspen, explain to my fan base what it meant to you.
Well, first of all, I'm going to answer with the Josh. I went on tour with Josh Blue. We did an LOL tour back in 2012, and that's when I really became friends with Josh. And just amazing, because here's the two. Don't set limitations on anybody. Josh is an amazing soccer player, an amazing comic, artist, author, and just an all-around great guy. I love the fact that he's there in Denver. As far as with the VA Sports Clinic win, I love doing these events. I guess I'm amazed by people who don't take no for an answer. You tell somebody, oh, you can't ski. Oh, no, you can't do this. You can't do that. You can't rock climb. You can't, blah, blah, blah. All these things, and it's like, can't. And then watch these people can do. Watch ski down. Snowmass is beautiful there in Colorado. And I don't know, have you been to Snowmass, Lynn?
Yes. It's
so beautiful.
It's 15 minutes away from my house, and that's how I snowboard in the winter. Yeah. So I am a true Snowmass skier. I mean, what you're talking about is 15 minutes away from my house.
You're so lucky. That is such a beautiful area. I can imagine being able to wake up in it every day.
Thank you. Now, we are also lucky to have one of the top military programs out in my neck of the woods, and what they do is wonderful, and I'm going to give a huge shout out to them. And when you guys hear this podcast, and when Will's fans hear this podcast, they must donate to Challenge Aspen if they want to, because Challenge Aspen is a non-profit, and it helps people like me snowboard. I am the second adaptive snowboarder in the world, and I couldn't do it without them, and I cannot do what I'm doing without them when it comes to snowboarding. So I love what they're doing for the vets, and I love that you're out here supporting all of us.
I appreciate that. It's truly, I would love to get together some, and let's go snowboard. I haven't snowboarded since I was a kid, but I used to love it because I skateboarded when I was younger, and I always thought, well, that's about the closest you're going to get is to be able to snowboard. But it is different, and you're locked in, and it's tough, but I like it. I'd love to have somebody actually really that knows what they're doing show me what to do, and it sounds like you really know what you're doing.
Well, I've been doing it. I gave a pair of ski boots and a pair of skis when I was 16. I had, before my spinal fusion, actually, I had a spinal fusion in 2006, and so I started snowboarding when I was mobile, didn't have my back fused, and they made me give it up for a year, thank you very much, after the spinal fusion, and I was so sad to give it up. I'm like, get me back on skis, please, or get me back on a snowboard, please, because I feel like I am able-bodied when I am snowboarding just because people ask me, how do you snowboard and how do you do all this? And with the veterans camps, you guys, they normally take veterans out for a week. And I myself got to experience a veterans camp. I was the only civilian allowed in because even though this camp was open to the public, I was the only one that signed up, and the rest of the spots were taken by camel. And I remember them saying, "You're such an inspiration to us," me, and I'm the civilian there. And I turned around and said, "You guys are such an inspiration to me," knowing that they'd come home with war wounds and everything else, and PTSD, and the fact that, well, you're trying comedy with these guys is, I think, is incredible.
Lynn, thank you for saying that. That really means a lot. It does, because, yeah, I know it's cliche when they say that laughter heals, but I've seen it work. And it's amazing when you are in a room full of, wounded veterans and somebody starts sharing their story, or, they have a breakthrough and they break down. And then, when I was talking about the combat to comedy and, doing that was basically built around the 5 phases of grief, when honestly in my own recovery, just trying to deal with the denial aspect of, when somebody says that you're not 100%, and, and you're like, oh, I'm broken or whatever. And it's like, but I'm not broken to the point that I can't be used. But it's like, there's still that denial aspect. There's the anger, bargaining with yourself, with Uncle Sam, trying to let you stay in the military. The depression sets in and you end up staying there in that depression, anger, bargaining mode for so long. And then just trying to get to the acceptance level of, okay, all right, so here's my injuries. Here's what I need to address. This is what I need to deal with to get myself healthy again for the people, not just myself, but for the people around you. And I think that's a lot of the problem is, nobody wants to, I guess, feel broken. Or I don't even know if that's the right way to put that, but for me, I was, you're going to the doctors, you're going to the VA, and you're trying to, have them tell you what's wrong with you. And I just feel like we need to take an approach of, why don't you tell me what's right with me instead of what's wrong with me? And when I got into that mindset, where I focused more on what was right instead of what was wrong, my recovery seemed to come quick, and it's like, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that I don't have days where I'm down and depressed or whatever, but I deal with my issues, and laughter has really been therapeutic for me, and to be able to just laugh and to be able to give laughter back to people has been such a blessing. It really has. So I appreciate that compliment, Lynn. Thank you very much for that.
Well, I think the work you're doing for the vets is incredible, because I am granddaughter of a veteran. My dad fought on the beaches of Anzio, and I know how tough it was for him to come back and go back into life every single day. He actually went to Harvard on the GI Bill to get his business degree. So he wanted to make something for himself before he died. And so, but unfortunately, I didn't have the blessing to meet my grandfather, but they say that Walter Reed, and when I was doing the veterans camp with Calvin Gassman, I remember 2 weeks before Oprah did Oprah Winfrey did a special from Rosalie, and of course she made it all pretty. And I remember asking one of the veterans' wives with us that week. I remember saying, "Is it Walter Reed that pretty?" And she goes, "When? Nope, 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 nope. Walter Reed is not the prettiest place on the planet. I think we have a screwed up system when it comes to medical care. Trust me, I know, but I'm not a veteran. But so how do you think we can make the VA better and just give these people hope?"
Wow, that is such a good question. To make it better, I think that they're understaffed. I think that the employees are overwhelmed. I don't think that I think more research needs to be done into why the troops and soldiers and why we're coming back so messed up. I think that I know that they have like the 22 a day and stuff like that, but the suicide rate is so high that it's more like 40. I mean, I think it's even higher. We're not addressing the real issue, and I think when the real issue, and I had a wounded warrior explain it to me like this, and it made the most sense to me. You're in the military, you're trained, and it's drilled into you to kill the enemy. The enemy is the monster, and sometimes the last monster that you're looking at is your reflection in the mirror. And I believe that, and I can understand why so many do take it to the suicide point. And I know that that's a tough subject to talk about, but we're not addressing, the VA is not addressing the invisible wounds as much as they address visible. If you're missing a limb, I can tell that something's wrong with you. But if I'm just suffering from, say, cancer or sexual trauma or just PTS in general, you can't see that. You don't know what's going on in my head. And I really feel for the VA to be more beneficial to help our veterans. They need to start addressing the invisible wounds more, hire some more employees, clean up the facilities, make it more. It's just, they seem like they're so dark, and when you go in there, and it's like, let's lighten the place up a little bit, I don't know. Community involvement, I think, would be another thing. People in the community volunteering more. Go up to your VAs, talk with your veterans. I think that's a lot. There's this cloud around us or something. People, I don't know if it's still from the Vietnam era where, is it, you're baby killers, or I don't know why there's such a dark cloud that kind of goes over the military. I mean, you see the T-shirts and we support our troops and everything, but that's more for media. I don't really feel sometimes that that's really the truth. I don't feel all warm and fuzzy with people. Veterans Day comes around and, we get our free meal somewhere, or you might find a store that gives you 10% off, or, here and there. But it's like, when people, do you really, you thank me for my service, but do you really mean that when you say it? Do you really know what goes behind my service? I don't know. I guess, to answer your question, I just feel like communication, that's probably the answer. When honestly, just better communication. If people would just start talking and realizing that it's not an embarrassment to talk about your service and what you did, I think that's a lot of the problem, is we bury it down inside of us. Men don't show emotion. Women don't want to, fight the male, whatever, in the military. And so it's like everybody just kind of locks down their problems. And I just feel like if we could somehow learn to communicate better with each other, I think that would be a really big step in having a better VA system, better health, help for our veterans, even in your local communities, in your VFWs, your American Legions. There's this stigma that it's like, it's just old World War II guys or old Korea guys sitting around telling war stories. And so that's why they're having such a hard time getting memberships, new members. And it's not like everybody's so self-centered. I think I feel like we don't take the time to talk to our neighbors anymore, and we don't take the time to really be out in our communities like it was when I was a kid. It's like what happened to that? And really, if we would just talk to each other, put the phone down for a minute, get out of your whatever, and just take in your surroundings, talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors, go down to places, visit your go to your church, your whatever, just get out and about, and people wouldn't be so afraid. I think that's what just I don't know. That was a long-winded for me to answer your question, but yes, I feel like
that's
the
okay.
VA system. I just feel like with the VA system, we just need to let people know that help is needed. And it's just you have to ask for it. You have to ask for it. So.
And now this Agent Orange thing is coming up quite. It's coming up in the news, and I actually have a friend who was a Vietnam War veteran, and let's just say that he got affected by Agent Orange, and yeah. So now I think that these Vietnam War veterans, now it's coming to light that these Vietnam War veterans got the funny end of the lollipop, and the VA's not helping them. Donald Trump is just sitting on his big fat ass, thank you very much, and not helping any of us. And Will's laughing at me because he knows it's the honest truth. Donald Trump tried to pull Medicaid on my 30th birthday. I wasn't too pleased with that because I use Medicaid. Thank you very much. So if Donald Trump pulls my health insurance, I have the means to get private health insurance, but I'm right now using Medicaid. But if Donald Trump pulls my health insurance, yikes, we'll all come up to St. Louis on a battle.
That's hilarious.
So, yeah. He's not helping. He's not helping the cause. He's just making the cause worse. And I hate to get political with you, Will, but I'm the one that brought up the VA and how we can help. But it's like, are we dead serious? We have these Vietnam War veterans coming back many years later, and now Agent Orange is coming to light.
Oh, it's so funny. I mean, that you brought that up. It's so being talked about so much around, I guess, in my circle that it's,
yeah,
because they just, everything always got swept under, Agent Orange got swept under the carpet, PTS got swept under the carpet, it was shell shock, it was this, it was everything else, but what they wanted to address it as. But, like, there's Vietnam veterans, I mean, they're dying daily because of Agent Orange. It has to be addressed. I mean, it's brutal. And cutting back on you brought up this, and I know they say you always avoid politics, but I'm like, I agree with you, because you can't keep taking away our VA benefits to where we can't get the help we need. Gee whiz, I'm like, yes. Exactly. So I'm in a lot of agreement with you on things there. So
and I usually don't bring up politics on this podcast, but I figured I might as well bring it up with a veteran who also stars in Modern Family, because you have a loud fan base, and when people hear this, they might jump. When you say jump, they might say how high. I don't know. And I have a huge fan base of people with and without cerebral palsy. So when they hear us say jump, they might say how high, but we don't know that yet. But I just wanted to thank you for your service, and thank you for what you do out here in my neck of the woods for the VA. because we need more people like you to come out of the woodwork, to come out of off the set of TV and have a real compassion.
Well, I appreciate that, Wynn. I also appreciate your voice and what you're doing. And this is amazing that you have your fan base as well, and that you are out here speaking about the topics and getting, people to listen to what's really going on. And for that, I want to commend you. Thank you very much. And thank you for addressing, I'm really was surprised, but I'm glad that you mentioned the Agent Orange and just the things that are going on that need to be addressed in this country. And I hope your listeners, I know it's tough sometimes, but really, and I'm going to go back to that again. When you say, thank you for your service, that means a lot to veterans. It really does, especially in that Vietnam era. They got kicked and spit on when they came home. Just a welcome home means a lot to those guys. But a lot of them are coming up sick now when they are, and the Agent Orange is really, really bad. It's a bad issue. So I appreciate that you brought that to the limelight today, talking with us, and I hope that people will do some research on it. And we got to get them help. We have to address it.
We have to.
We
have to get them help. We have to get them help. And my closest VA is down in Grand Junction, and I have, as I said, I have a dear friend who came back with injuries from Vietnam because of the Agent Orange, and he used full facilities of the VA. But at the same time, we got to get the VA cleaned up. We got to get people back on the GI Bill to get their degrees, like my grandfather did. And I know my school, the Academy of Arts, accepts the GI Bill. So if anyone wants to go into game design or go into fashion journalism, and they're in the Army and they have access to the GI Bill, my school does accept it. I wish I knew more schools that accept it. Maybe I'll do my research and figure this out, because we need to get these guys back on track.
You
and
just
women too.
nailed it. I am applauding you right now. That is, listeners, I hope you heard what you just said. Guys, veterans, men, women, take advantage of your GI Bill. Get educated. We need to take advantage of the money that is offered for us to get to school. Do it. When that was awesome.
Well, thank you for saying that, because my dad has told me stories of my grandfather, and as I said, he fought the beaches of Amsterdam, and he came home not that great, but he went back to Harvard to get his business degree on the GI Bill. So please take advantage of the GI Bill, because my grandfather did, and granted this was in the 60s and 70s, but I'm sorry to say, but the Veterans Association Hospital is not going to help you. They're just going to put you on pills and kick you out the door. I'm sorry, but they're just going to put you on antidepressants and kick you out the door.
I can relate to that all too well. Yes, that's exactly what they do.
Yep. They're just going to kick you out the door. So if you can find alternatives, and I know there's money. I'm getting scholarships to send myself back to get a associate degree in fashion journalism. I'm getting FAFSA bills. FAFSA is the United States education government monies, so I'm getting it. Imagine if you were on a GI Bill. Imagine what you can get. And I know you guys and women need to find paperwork and need to go through that, jump through all that hoops. But if Will can do it, and if Will can be successful as he is on Modern Family and all the other stuff he's starred in, you can do it too. And Will, I will ask you this question: if you had to be educated by anyone, who would it be and why?
If I had to be influenced by anybody or educated by anybody?
Educated by anyone.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the GI Bill. I actually used mine, and I'm very thankful for my university. And, you know, if I actually got to sit down, this is so funny, and just be, I guess, taught by somebody, wow, that is such a good question. There's so many people that I guess I've influenced, but I would really like to just pick Isaac Newton's brain. I know that sounds weird, but I would love to have a day with Isaac Newton. Wow, I really like.
No, that does not sound weird at all. That does not sound weird at all. And I was thinking, if I was asked that question by an interviewer, I would say my choice would be Stephen Hawking, because Stephen Hawking had the brain of a scientist, yet he was trapped in his own body by ALS disease, and Stephen Hawking only died a couple months ago, and so Newton and Stephen Hawking are right up there, and maybe we can get a good laugh in by Josh Blue, I don't know. And so what has been your favorite comic memory of all the stuff you have done? What has been the story that has stuck out in your mind?
In comedy, I guess I've been very fortunate to perform with a lot of really great comics. I'm a really big Steve Martin fan, and Steve Martin really influences me a lot through comedy. I've always just kind of been drawn to him. I just think he's a straight one. I've gotten to meet him, and I've gotten to sit in on him being interviewed, and just such an amazing, talented person. And I know people say, who are your influences? You always hear comics, and they'll go, oh, Eddie Murphy and Bill Hicks and blah blah blah, and George Carlin. And yes, Carlin was amazing. But I guess for me, it's just I liked the entertainment aspect, not only a comic, actor, improv, magician, all the things that I think that Steve brings to the table has just really kind of influenced me. I've been very impressed with him.
Yes, and for those of you that don't know who Steve Martin is, for those of you are the younger millennials, I'm older millennial, so yes, I know who Steve Martin is. Just Google him, because he is a class act the way he did it, and he starred in many, many, many movies. So if you Google Steve Martin, you'll figure it out. And where can people find you, and how can we assist you in your projects with the VA, and how could we spread the message as civilians, and how could we assist the VA, if at all? I mean, as I said, the VA is terrible, and Donald Trump is not helping. He's just making things worse. And so now I want my listeners and your listeners to understand how we can help the VA as civilians, and how we can help you.
Absolutely. Well, Wynn, thank you for having me on, first of all, today. I really, really appreciate it. To follow me, guys, I have my group called the Veterans of Comedy. We're all military veterans that are now stand-up comedians. And you can follow us at theveteransofcomedy.com. You can follow me personally at willc.net. Any of the Instagram, Twitter, all the, Facebook, Comedian Will See. If you Google me, Will See, Comedian Will See, it's all going to come up. But please follow us with the military stuff and the things that we do at theveteransofcomedy.com. If you'd like to email me personally, you can email me at info@theveteransofcomedy.com. That comes to me. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Stay in touch. Go to on Facebook, follow us. Follow what we're doing with the veteransofcomedy.com or the Veterans of Comedy on Facebook. Here's the deal. When it gets to your question, get involved. Get involved in your local communities. Get involved in your nonprofits. There's so many good ones out there that help the veterans in your community. There's Us for Warriors. There's so many. The Semper Fi Fund. There's so many. Just research and help out. You can volunteer your time in your community. Help feed a veteran. Help. There's so many things. Clothe them. You buy something new. Take something old out of your closet and give it away. That helps. Help clothe and feed the people that can't clothe and feed themselves. That's how you help.
Yeah.
As far as with our veterans, you have a voice, use it. You have arms, hug. I'm a big firm. You wouldn't be surprised how much a hug can do for somebody. Don't be afraid to tell people how you feel about them. Don't be afraid to show emotion and get involved. I'm going to keep on saying that. I'm going to reiterate that over and over. Get involved. You want change in this world. Change doesn't happen when you're sitting on your couch talking about change. Change happens when you get off your butt and get out of your house and go out there and make a difference. That's what you have to do.
Well, that's what we all have to do. And before I let you go, you can ask me a couple questions, and then I'm going to let you go create great work. And I thank you, Will, for coming on. Everyone, because I've been hinting at this episode, everyone wonders who Wynn got on, but now the cat's out of the bag, and people want to know, how did you get into acting? And then you can ask me a couple of questions, and then we'll wrap this interview up.
Okay. Well, I'm trained as an actor. When I am improv trained, I've come from I was acting since I was a kid. I got myself into every production I could get my hands on. So I come to the table, highly trained as an actor. I've been able to study under some really good instructors. And so, back to when, we were talking about being prepared, I was ready. And even though I was lucky and just happened to be in the right place at the right time, I was ready for that moment. And I think that's why it happened the way it did, because I didn't hesitate. There was no fear to get myself to that next level. For me, for my questions for you, I was so impressed with the author. I love writing, and my question for you is, do you enjoy writing as much as I feel like you do from what I've read about you and researched about you? You put out, 8 books? Is that right?
Yes, 8 books, and now I'm going to have a fan-cool moment. 8 books. Now I'm going to have a fan-cool moment here, you guys, because I never thought an actor from London family would be asking little me, do I enjoy writing? And this is why I'm becoming a professional journalism student and a professional journalist. Well, because I love writing and I love acting. I did acting in my past. Don't ask. And I actually did acting through Challenge Acts, and they have play camp the week of July 20th. So if you guys want more information on that, go Google challengeaspen.com. You can find out about the Veterans Program, or the acting camp. It's a wonderful acting camp. So yes, I did acting in my past. That was my past life, but I'm sticking more with writing and getting the word out about deaths and getting the word out about all disabilities. And I'm hoping to get an agent for my next book. I have a small publishing deal right now, but I'm hoping to get an agent for my next book. And yes, this is why I'm going back to school to get a journalism degree so I can help people and I can write and do my passion.
I am so impressed. I'm just, authors just impress me. I mean, I love the fact that you're using your voice to put those books out there. That is absolutely amazes me. And I just wanted to say that I'm very, very impressed. That is so awesome. And I wanted to also say, I loved this interview. Thank you for having me on today. This has been really cool. And I want to snowboard with you, ski, whatever we got to do. I'll come to ask you.
I know, and we won't make a publicity stunt out of it. I know we need to plan that, and we need you to get back out here and me to get on my snowboard, and we'll make a big day of it. And no, we won't make a publicity stunt out of it, you guys, because Will doesn't like publicity, but I wanted to talk to him behind the scenes of his story, even though I had a fangirl moment when they asked me about my writing a story from Modern Family, but I just applaud the work Will's doing behind the scenes. I truly do. And as I said, Google Challenge Aspen, and I'll make my assistant put Challenge Aspen right at the top of this email so that, right at the top of this show notes so that you guys can see it and you guys know that Challenge Aspen is near and dear to my heart. I didn't know that Challenge Aspen was near and dear to Will's heart too. I didn't know that we have a connection in common.
We do.
And I just hope that you guys donate to Challenge Aspen because it's a wonderful cause. And please, 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 please follow Will and ask him how you can help him and bring light to the veterans community, you guys. Thanks to you guys. Bye.
Thank you so much, Wynn. That was really, really cool. Are you still there?